Hello, I'm Kaz, and welcome to my first video blog. Hopefully this will be one of many, but really why this first one is actually getting started is the fact that not too long ago on Facebook I put out requests for donations, and when I put that out I got a bunch of different messages from people asking me what's going on, and am I okay, and things like that. And many of the people were people that I haven't really talked to high school, but thanks to Facebook, you know, I follow them on their feed and see what they're up to. So apparently I popped up into their feed and got their attention, and I had replied to them that, hey, I'm currently only on my tablet, and that the answer actually requires a keyboard, and when I get on my computer I will respond back to you. And the very next day my computer crashed. So yeah, I've actually been kind of owing this explanation for a little bit, and was kind of hoping to get my computer fixed because I had just replaced the motherboard in it and it was underneath warranty, and thought it would be a speedy process to get a replacement. It just has not. So that's where I'm at with that. And so, yeah, this first one is actually inspired by the fact that I needed to reply to people, let people know that I am indeed okay, and let people know what's going on in my life, where I'm at. Yeah, so we'll get started with that. In case you don't know, about the beginning of the year, I moved to Slab City, California. It is the last free place in America, and by free it doesn't mean that there are no laws and things like that. You know, if it's legal out there, it's illegal here. There is just actually no cost to live here. It is an old abandoned military base that people have been squatting on since 1954. And it has approximately 150 to 200 year-round residents, which I plan on becoming. I want to spend a year here in the California desert, kind of push myself. Anyways, back on topic. And then in the winter time, when most of the United States is covered with snows, all the people who travel around via RV, motorcycles, things like that, descend upon Slab City, and the population grows to about 2,000 people. And in fact, this weekend here, there has been a group of people who call themselves the Midnight Riders who have come here and are throwing a pretty large party. Kind of think small scale Burning Man style thing. There are some buildings and art structures and things like that put up, and yeah. So it is kind of a cool little happening place during the winter time. And then around April, people kind of jet out of here because it starts to get pretty hot. Can get up to 120 plus during the summertime here. So yes, I have moved to Slab City. And when I moved, I had actually purchased Kodiak 10 by 14 canvas tent that did not arrive with me, or when I did. So and I unfortunately didn't insure the package, so I did not have a homestead when I showed up. And while I have a homestead, it's not exactly what I would call a home. It's actually a little bit of a hobo hut, which I plan on making an entirely different video about, just to show how people actually don't need lots of things to survive and live a nice, enjoyable life. So anyways, how am I spending my days here? I really spend my days days of the week, one of two places, either at the library, which is kind of where I live close to, and it is the Lizard Tree Library. It was created, oh God, I'm going to draw a blank. Tell you what, I'll give you a whole nother video on that anyways. Just let's say the library, which is actually where I'm doing this video. As you can see behind me, there are a plethora of books, and yeah, people come check out the library, or come check out books from the library, drop off ones they're not using anymore. It's kind of a cool little thing they got going here. And yeah, in case the video is picking up the noises, that is some of the midnight riders heading down the canal to go check out the area around here. They kind of have a party set up over by Salvation Mountain during the evening, and they are checking out the rest of the slabs during the day. So yeah, like I said, I spent a good amount of time at the library, partially because, like I said, I live real close by, and also my eating scene is up here. My kitchen is directly attached to the library, and I eat with Cornelius and CJ. We're kind of a small little food co-op. We take turns cooking dinners for each other, so we each cook approximately twice a week, and then once every 3 weeks we get hit by three anyways, I got distracted. And then once every 3 weeks we get hit with having to cook 3 meals. So it's nice to not have to cook every night, yet have meals every night. It's definitely appreciated. So those are the 2 reasons why I spend a lot of time up here. It's also kind of the people who are currently caretaking the library, which is Cornelius Van Gogh of WeLiveInAVan.com. She has been the main caretaker of this place, and currently she is on a 10-day Vahespa meditation retreat, and I am one of the few people that volunteered to actually hold down the library in her absence. So currently I'm a librarian, imagine that. So the other place I actually go and spend a fair amount of time is at the Internet Cafe, which is a cafe that is run off of donations. They have coffee, internet access that is available for anybody and everybody for free, as well as charging of your appliances like, laptops, tablets, phones, things of that nature. And it's actually kind of a cool little social scene down there as well. I've begun to play Magic, the card game Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I know, nothing like being a decade late to the game. But I've actually been enjoying that. For those of you that do play Magic the Gathering, I am currently running an all-black vampire deck. Let's see what else. So those are the main places where I hang out. Also during the evening times, there are different things going on here all the time. There on Saturday night is the Range, which is kind of an open night mic. People play music. There's been some comedy. Yeah, just kind of an open night. Everybody gets together, hangs out, and performs what they want. And then Thursday night here at the library, there is a spoken word night where everybody sits around a bonfire and read some of their favorite spoken word or recite poems or things of that nature. There are 2 nights a week when there are movie nights, and that's Wednesday and Sunday night, and they generally run about 3 movies each night, which is kind of nice, and people just kind of gather around a big screen and hang out in the desert and kind of watch like a drive-in style movie. And then other nights of the week, there are other musical things going on, whether that's a drum circle, an acoustical night, tiki night over at Radio Mike. There's actually a guy here who runs a radio station from his Airstream in Slab City in the desert. But really only people around here get it, so that's kind of cool. Let's see. What else should I tell you about here? Oh, I guess when I first landed, and like I said, my tent didn't arrive, and why I'm actually seeking donations. Wish I wouldn't have bought that $750 tent and just brought the money down here and tried to buy a trailer, is because I am trying to buy a trailer so that I can spend the summer here. Either that or I'll maybe build some sort of A-frame structure. But yeah, the money that I had budgeted for housing I spent on a tent. So that's kind of what's going on here at Slab City. Some people ask, so why am I here? And why I'm here is because, like, for a long time I have joked around with friends about how someday I was going to buy property in the middle of nowhere and start my own hippie commune, because I'm just not really impressed with the way society is running itself, and kind of want to go back to a simpler way of life and not dealing on the machine. So about 4 years ago, I had decided, well, hey, if you're ever going to do that, maybe you should do that now. And so I started writing up a business plan and was working on the bylaws when I went, oh, you know what, there's got to be a handful of these things out there. I know the farm had been operating since the 60s, so I figured, you know, hey, I'll just kind of look at some other bylaws and borrow from theirs and kind of put my own together, and hopped on the internet and found out that not only are there a handful of these, there are literally thousands of these all across the United States and I guess the world, because there were listings all around the world as well, but I really focused looking in the United States. And the reason why I started that focus is because after finding out there was so many of them, that broadened my research more on what is now called intentional communities, and came across a YouTube video series that I think I was maybe like the 22nd viewer of, and it was interviews of a bunch of different people who live in intentional communities, and they were all basically asked the same questions, and this was their reply, coming from living in different intentional communities around. And whenever they came to the question, so what sort of advice do you have for somebody that's wanting to do something like this for themselves, every single one of them answered, don't do it, it's way too much work. Find an intentional community that's most like what you want to do and join there and help out that way. So that's really what I did, is I started my focusing down on intentional communities that were pre-existing and what most closely resembled what I wanted to do. And that, for me, happened to be Dancing Rabbit Ecovillage in northeastern Missouri. And that's actually where I lived for the last 4 years, and it was a great experience. And like, even when I first decided to move there, I always looked at it as like, hey, worst case scenario, this is like getting a college education on how to do your own thing. You know, you'll be able to have access to all their notes and everything. So when I lived there, I really threw myself into learning what exactly it does take to operate it, because like one of the things that excited me about Dancing Rabbit is they had the very lofty goal of becoming a village of the size of 500 to 1,000. And while that wasn't my original goal, I did like really want to support that goal. I felt, oh, that's really something cool. So like Dancing Rabbit wasn't my total ideal, and as I've learned now, like really isn't entirely what I was looking for. And that's not to say anything ill of Dancing Rabbit. Just a lot of the people that I really fell in love with while living with them, ended up moving on. And our population went from being pretty close to 70 people now down to about 35. And like a lot of the people that I really wanted to build a life with were no longer there. So it really took me about a year to realize, or not to realize, but to hold on to that maybe there'll be other people that fill those holes of the people that left. And I would stay there, and that just didn't happen. So this last fall, in one of the visitor groups, there was a gentleman by the name of Blake who really wanted to come out to Slab City, and I had not heard about it at all. And so I started to do some internet on the research and watched a couple of videos about this place and went, you know what, this place kind of reminds me of if Burning Man fucked a retirement village, Slab City would be its offspring. And I really looked at it as it would be a really good place for networking for me, for people who want to live a similar lifestyle, as well as with the snowbirds that come in here, that there's the potential for networking for funding as well as something like that. And just in the little over a month that I've been here, I can definitely tell you that those things have been fruitful. Like, I have met people that I can start cultivating relationships with and potentially look for funding for my own, or I shouldn't say my own, but for an intentional community with a small group of people that are really ecologically minded. And I feel like I have actually network with other community-minded people that are wanting to do something similar. It doesn't mean that necessarily we are going to build a community together, but it's definitely nice to have not really community, because we're not a community, but groups of people that I can talk to about this, and we can bounce different ideas off of each other's heads. And in fact, that is leading me to, I want to set up a nonprofit to be kind of a incubation station here at Slab Cities for people who do want to kind of start their own community. They can come here and talk with other people and learn from other people such as myself who have lived that way for a while. I mean, one of the things that I thought was interesting about Slab City is that they are definitely the model that Dancing Rabbit was trying to be, and that is a community of sub-communities. Like, there is definitely Slab City as a whole is a community, and there are definitely very smaller subset or subgroups or sub-communities, such as the Oasis, which is kind of like a membership thing, or the Lowe's, which is Loners on Wheels. They kind of have a setup of their own area. So there's lots of, and when I first was researching it, there was the Rebel Circus, which was set up for gays and transgenders to have a safe space to be able to kind of come out of their shell. And unfortunately, that place is no longer in existence here at this time, because the people have moved on and there's just nobody to kind of take it on. But there's definitely lots of different governance styles within these sub-communities, which is another reason why I came here, is to actually see, like at Dancing Rabbit, I experienced full consensus, large group consensus where everybody who wanted to participate could say yes or no on a project. As long as the block was group held value, like one person could say, no, this is not good for the group. And also then experienced a village council framework where 7 people were kind of making them decisions on whether or not it was good for a group. East Jesus, which is kind of an artist group here, runs kind of on dictatorship, or not dictatorship, I don't know. One person running the show, and I say person because it's a female, one coat running the show. And so, like, there's a large variety of things to check out and try to tweak to see for people who are wanting to start their own intentional community on what works and what they'd like to incorporate and so on and so forth. So those are really the reasons why I'm here. So, like, I appreciate the people who have donated. So far I've raised about $350. I have still trying to raise funds to get some sort of housing. I'm currently looking at an RV, an older Winnebago, I think it was from the 80s, that I can probably fix the engine on and get it running so it could potentially be mobile as well. But I might be able to get it for a pretty good deal, if I can raise enough money, that is, of course. So if you want to help me out in that, please, donate to the link that's potentially below here. It is below here on the YouTube page, but if you're seeing this on Facebook, I don't know necessarily if it is. I do want to do these video blog type things once a week. If you are finding them entertaining and such, I would ask that you actually go to the YouTube page and click on the donate button. I think it's up here. It's up here. It's up here. We'll say PayPal. Anyways, if you want to kind of encourage this, you can definitely donate there, and that will tell me, yes, you want to hear what's going on a potentially weekly basis. Other than that, I think that's about it. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz.